all of you who have deployed family members in the military, racial justice, historic and punishing wildfires and storms.
All right, so this deep dive, Joe Biden actually said this during Christmas message.
Oh, yeah.
And I know you're probably thinking,
Yeah.
okay, what wild thing did he say?
Right.
Did he, have another gaffe?
Yeah.
Did he, say something completely out of left field?
Right.
But this is actually genuinely fascinating.
Oh, wow.
What we have is a YouTube video, just a short snippet.
Uh-huh.
Throughout this year, we had to forego many of our favorite holiday traditions. There's a lot more work to do to steel our spines. As frustrating it is to hear, we need international rules of the road. We don't sit here and say that we're going to strike you with a nuclear weapon. We don't sit and we're going to say and so on.
Of then President-elect Biden speaking.
Okay.
Christmas week 4 years ago.
Right.
And the comment section below.
Yeah.
It's a time capsule.
Interesting.
But the speech itself is strange even for Biden.
Oh, really?
I mean, he says things like Floyd family, steal our spines.
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on here?
Yeah, what is going on?
We got to figure that out.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
That's a very strange speech.
Yeah, it is a curious speech.
Right.
Full of non sequiturs. And to understand it, you really have to remember the context.
Okay, so what was the context?
I mean, this wasn't just Christmas week.
Oh.
This was Christmas week of that year.
Right.
We're talking peak COVID anxieties.
Yeah.
The George Floyd protests were still fresh in everyone's minds.
Right.
Wildfires raging. The country was on edge.
Yeah, so maybe this rambling style,
Right.
these odd phrases,
Yeah.
maybe it was just...
The answer is, first of all, we've gone faster than everybody in the total cabinet. So we...
Not President Obama and yourself, sir.
The whole cabinet?
The whole cabinet.
Whole cabinet?
Well, there were a few missteps on commerce, as you remember, but...
I do. A, the extent of the damage. B, the nature of how it occurred. C, what I should be doing internally in terms of my administration to protect against it in the future. And number 4...
Biden trying to address everything at once.
Possibly.
Right.
But that's where the comments become so fascinating.
Oh, the comments are wild.
Yeah.
Some people found it funny.
Okay.
But then there's also this undercurrent of, I don't know, almost dread.
Dread.
Yeah, like, is this really the guy in charge?
Is this really the guy in charge?
I mean, yeah, some of the comments are brutal.
Oh, yeah, like what?
Like, imagine being proud you voted for him.
Oof.
He sounds like a genius to a Democrat voter.
Wow. Ouch.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
What struck me is how many comments fixate on Biden leaving office.
Really?
Like you're counting down the days.
What do they say?
January can't come fast enough.
Wow.
The next clip I want to see is the one that notifies the country of his passing.
Really?
Dark humor.
Yeah.
But also telling.
Very telling.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole, like,
Yeah.
FJB crowd.
Oh, the FJB crowd.
Like a whole chorus of FJB.
Yeah.
What a disgrace to this country.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that anyway?
So FJB, as you likely know, stands for, well, it's not exactly polite.
Right.
But it became this rallying cry for Biden's opponents.
Interesting.
And it's interesting because it goes beyond policy disagreement. It's personal.
Yeah.
It's visceral.
Okay, I give up. I have seen his face and heard him talk for the last time.
Right.
This isn't just, I disagree with his tax plan.
Yeah.
This is deeper.
Exactly. And it raises the question,
What's that?
are these comments just the extreme fringe yelling into the void? Or do they reflect a broader dissatisfaction that's simmering beneath the surface?
Interesting.
We need to dig deeper into the language,
Yeah.
the specific anxieties people are expressing, to really understand what this speech and the reaction to it.
Yeah.
Tell us about that moment in time.
Okay, so we've got this bizarre speech
Yeah.
delivered at a super tense moment.
Right.
And the public response is basically somewhere between nervous laughter and straight up panic.
Nervous laughter and straight up panic.
Where do we go from here?
You question.
Do we analyze the speech itself more closely?
I think both are necessary.
Okay.
The speech itself, with its meandering structure and unusual phrasing, provides clues about the challenges Biden faced in communicating with a divided and anxious public. but
Yeah.
the comments are a goldmine of raw, unfiltered emotion.
That's true.
They give us a glimpse into the hopes, fears, and frustrations of everyday Americans grappling with a changing world.
Okay, so we've got this bizarre speech.
Yeah.
We've got the comment section,
Right.
which is a gold mine.
It is a goldmine.
Buckle up, everyone. We're
Alright.
going deep
Die.
into the heart of Biden's Christmas message. And trust me,
Yeah,
it's a lot weirder and more revealing than you might think.
for sure. Let's start with the speech itself.
Yeah.
There's this one phrase that jumps out at me.
Okay.
He says, international rules of the road, in the context of nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
It's an odd metaphor.
Yeah, it's definitely not the kind of language you'd expect from, a world leader talking about nuclear proliferation.
Exactly.
It's almost as if he's trying to,
yeah.
simplify a complex issue to the point of absurdity.
And that might be the key to understanding this whole speech.
Okay.
Remember, Biden was stepping into a leadership void,
Right.
a country reeling from a pandemic and deeply divided politically.
Oh.
Perhaps he felt the need to project a sense of calm,
Okay.
of folksy wisdom, even if it came across as,
Yeah.
well, a bit off.
So he's trying to soothe the nation's anxieties with folksy metaphors.
Possibly.
But then he throws in these curveballs.
Yeah.
Like, steal our spines.
Steal our spines.
And Floyd family. What's
Yeah.
going on there?
Those phrases seem to come out of nowhere,
Yeah.
almost like free associations.
Right.
But if we look at the broader context of the speech, they might reveal something about the anxieties swirling around at the time.
Okay.
The Floyd family reference, obviously,
Right.
speaks to the racial reckoning the country was undergoing. And steal our spines
Yeah.
could be interpreted as a metaphor for a perceived loss of strength,
Okay.
of national unity.
So he's trying to address these huge, complex issues,
Right.
but it's coming out in this
Yeah.
jumbled, almost stream of consciousness way.
Exactly.
No wonder people were freaking out in the comments.
And the comments are a fascinating reflection of those anxieties.
What do they say?
You have people saying things like, I'm ashamed to say I live in a country that would elect such a criminal as president.
Wow.
It's not just about Biden.
Okay.
It's about a deeper sense of disillusionment with the political system.
Too bad. He's done so much damage to this country.
Right. And there you go.
It's almost like they're mourning the loss of something.
Precisely. There's this sense of nostalgia for a bygone era, a time when things seemed simpler, more stable.
Right.
And that nostalgia often gets tied up with political figures. Like,
Right.
we need Trump back.
It's like they're looking for a savior,
Right.
someone to come in and fix everything.
And that's a dangerous line of thinking.
Yeah, I could see that.
Blind faith in any leader is rarely a good thing.
Right.
But when people are scared and desperate, they're more likely to fall for those kinds of promises.
We also have to remember that there's,
Yeah.
flickers of humor in there too.
Oh, right.
OMFG. This guy would mess up a 2-car funeral.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Humor can be a coping mechanism.
Right.
A way of deflecting from the seriousness of the situation.
Okay.
But it can also be a way of expressing frustration and disbelief.
Right.
It's like they're saying, this is so bad, it's almost comical.
But isn't there a danger in using humor to downplay serious issues?
There's always that risk.
Okay.
Humor can be a way of avoiding difficult conversations
Right.
or downplaying the severity of a situation.
Yeah.
It's a double-edged sword.
Okay.
It can help us cope,
Mm-hmm.
but it can also prevent us from addressing the root causes of our anxieties.
So what we're seeing in these comments is a complex tapestry of emotions.
Yes.
Fear, anger, humor, nostalgia,
Right.
and a deep sense of unease about the future.
And those emotions are all tangled up with the political landscape of the time, the
Right.
pandemic,
Yeah.
the racial justice protests,
Right.
the deep partisan divides.
Biden's speech, with its odd phrasing and meandering structure, seems to have tapped into those anxieties.
Yeah.
Almost inadvertently.
Yeah. It's like he held up a mirror to the nation's soul.
Yeah.
And what we saw staring back at us was, well, pretty unsettling.
And the question is,
Right.
what do we do with that reflection?
Exactly.
Do we just dismiss it as just the ramblings of an aging politician?
Right?
Or do we try to understand the deeper anxieties it reveals,
Yeah,
the anxieties that are still very much present in our society today?
for sure.
I keep thinking about something you said earlier
Yeah.
about Biden stepping into this
Yeah.
this leadership void.
Yeah.
It was this speech,
Yeah.
as weird as it was, an
Mhm.
attempt to kind of
It's a good
fill that void with something.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think it goes beyond just Biden himself.
Okay.
I mean, this was a moment when people were craving reassurance,
Right.
the sense of direction,
Yeah.
and what they got was this a confused, rambling speech that seemed to mirror the chaos of the time.
And that's reflected in the language that people used in the comment.
Yes, exactly.
We talked about, abbreviations like FJB,
Right.
the emotional language, the dark humor.
It's like people were grasping for ways to express their anxieties, their frustration. The traditional political language just didn't seem adequate to capture the intensity of the moment.
So this weird,
Yeah.
almost childlike speech.
Yeah.
And the equally strange reaction to it.
Yeah,
They were both kind of symptoms of the same
I think so.
underlying unease.
And that unease, that sense of things being off,
Hmm?
and something we're still grappling with today.
Right.
Look at the political landscape now. The divisions, the distrust. It's
Yeah.
like we haven't fully processed what happened in those tumultuous years.
What about the people who didn't comment?
Oh, interesting.
The silent majority.
Right.
What can we glean from their silence?
That's the mystery, isn't it?
Yeah.
Were they nodding along?
Right.
Horrified?
Uh,
Apathetic? Silence can be interpreted in so many ways.
yeah.
But it's important to remember that not everyone feels comfortable expressing themselves online,
Right.
especially when the conversation is so charged.
So we have to be careful about drawing sweeping conclusions from a
Exactly.
self-selected group of commenters.
But even with that caveat, these comments offer a valuable glimpse into the collective psyche of a nation at a crossroads. A nation grappling with uncertainty, loss, and a deep sense of unease about the future.
And it all kind of stemmed from this
It did.
one speech,
Yeah.
this strange Christmas message
Right.
that seemed to capture
In its own bizarre way.
the mood of the moment.
Yes, it's a reminder that sometimes the most revealing moments are the ones that defy easy categorization. The ones that make us scratch our head and say, what did he just say?
And sometimes those head-scratching moments can tell us more about ourselves and the state of our world than the most carefully crafted political pronouncements.
So the next time you encounter a speech that seems nonsensical, a comment section full of rage and despair, or even just an unsettling silence,
Yeah.
remember there's often more to the story than meets the eye.
It's like those optical illusions, right?
Yes.
The ones where you have to shift your perspective
Yeah.
to see the hidden image.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes to understand the world around us,
Right.
we need to do a little perspective shifting of our own.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
To our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of Biden's bizarre Christmas message.
We hope you found it enlightening, unsettling, and maybe even a little bit humorous.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those perspectives shifting.
Yeah. See you next time.